Karow, and I'm currently serving in the Marion Church of Christ as the associate pastor, which, if you ask me, it's a fancy name for a youth pastor and whatever else they throw at you. I'm married to Terry, who is Chris Williams' little sister. Yeah, and we are here today. My kids are here on their spring break as well. And many of you know my mom, Jenny, and if you don't like what is said here today, you can complain to her. While you're there, you can eat a piece of candy. I am a Crossroads alumni, and to tell you what kind of student I was, I got my 4-year degree in 5 years. And it has taken me 10 years to get asked to come back and talk at chat with And Ruth did ask me last year. And Ruth, yes, thank you for asking me to come. Yeah, it's a privilege. I have great respect for Ruth, and I kind of wonder why I'm standing up here when you guys could hear from Ruth today. When I attended chapel here as a student, many times we were preached at. And throughout all that preaching, I don't remember a lot of those sermons, but I do remember a lot of the stories, particularly the stories that help shape and mold how I do ministry. So today I want to share with you 5 different faces that you might hear from regarding the events of Good Friday. I'm going to speak as if they were here in front of you, in the first person, as if they were telling their side of the story. I'm going to try to be as accurate as possible, but I will admit I took some liberties. I possibly made some stuff up. And if you're questioning my accuracy, please read yourself as you find them in the Bible. Before I start, I'd like to pray. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this opportunity to come here in your presence and worship. Lord, as we leave here today, I pray that that worship would continue as an outflowing of just how we live life. Lord, thank you for letting us be part of your kingdom. Thank you for your Son who came and died, and thank you that we get to proclaim his name. It's in your name I pray. Amen. My name is Judas Iscariot. I'm the son of Simon. I know what you're thinking. How could you? How could you do that? Well, maybe I'm not as nasty as you think. Maybe you and I are more alike than you think. I know you'd like me to make me out to be your villain, but I'm not that bad. You see, I was in charge of the money. I was the treasurer of the 12, you could say, and I carried the money around and I paid for things. Well, I personally thought that Jesus was indeed the Messiah. I thought that he really was who he said he was. I thought that he could take the Romans by force. The following that Jesus has gained here this week has been amazing. If he got all those people together and told them what to do, he could overthrow the government. So in my clever thinking, I thought, what if I could force Jesus' hand into that position? What if I could force him into that overthrow? Better yet, what if I could even get the government to pay me to do this? So in my slight and sordid plan, I plan to make some silver for the 12, and Jesus overthrows the government. The Jews are back on top. Well, they should be. It's a win-win, right? Well, I thought that was my plan until that Last Supper. It got a little weird. I thought it was a good idea until Jesus already knew what I was about to do. But still, I wasn't too scared. I figured Jesus just didn't understand. He didn't get it. But what really scared me is when he said, I've been better off not being born than to betray him. I didn't like this word betrayal. I thought more of it maybe as a sordid game plan. But the plan was set. I couldn't go back now. I figured Jesus just still didn't understand. He didn't get it. I thought I could still force his hand to that tyrant overthrow. So on that night, I said to the soldiers, wait until it's the one I kiss. That's the one. Make no mistake. But even as I approached him, as I went to kiss him, he asked me, was I here to betray him? Jesus, it's not a betrayal. Some of the disciples even got violent. One of them pulled his sword, cut off one of the ears of one of the soldiers. I thought, yes, here we go. It's going to happen. But Jesus stopped it. He said, put your swords away. Oh, Jesus. It was in that moment I knew I had done something bad. It wasn't going to happen like I thought. I knew it was irreversible. I tried to take it back. I knew my great plan was a terrible plan. I couldn't live with it. So I did. My name is Malachus, but you can call me Eerie. I was one of the high priest's servants that went with Judas to the Garden of Gethsemane. We were under strict orders to move quickly and quietly through the night. We'd never done covert operations like this before. Most of what we did was during the daytime. We did it bold, we did it loudly so people could see us, they could be scared. They could know that we were forced to be reckoned with, and know that if they did crime, that this was the penalty. We were given orders almost to be scared of this guy. It was Eerie. I figured a man who walks like this and told stories like this is just another man. But then these soldiers on the way there to the garden started to tell their first-hand stories of what they had seen and heard. I mean, it's a little spooky walking through these gardens anyways in the middle of the night. When they start to tell these stories, you don't know if a sword is going to be enough. Well, we finally got to the area where Judas said he was going to kiss this man. This is a little weird, but I thought, okay. Judas approached him and he kissed him, and I saw some movement quickly to my left. And I heard a blow, and it was loud. And I was on the ground before I even knew what happened. I put my hand up to my face, and it wasn't water. It was my own blood. And then I started to realize I'm hurt. As the pain started to creep in. I couldn't hardly bear it. That disciple's sword must have been so sharp because it cut right through, it cut clean. Nearly a minute's gone by, and I'm still on my knees. And I realized, so was Jesus. He's on his knees right in front of me. He spoke sternly and said, "Put your swords down." At this time, my ear hurt so bad, I could hardly bear it. He reaches out his hand. He touches my ear. There's no more pain. I don't even have to put my hand up there. I know my ear is back, and I don't know why. It was like breath came upon me, like air was upon me, like fresh morning air, and I was good again. We still had the orders to carry out to bring Jesus to arrest this man. I couldn't even get off my knees. It's like I was part of something bigger than me. Like I was part of somebody else's power and authority. They still killed that man. Even after those soldiers saw what he did to my ear, they still killed that man. Performed some miracle so greater than any magic we had ever seen, and they still killed that man. He really was the Christ. I'm convinced. They call me Simon Peter. I guess you could say I'm a little spunky sometimes, a little gregarious. You see, things kind of changed during that Last Supper. We had had lots of meals with Jesus, but this one got a little weird. I mean, it starts out with Jesus washing our feet. Hashtag awkward. And then he talks about one of us betraying him. Boy, the chatter started then. We didn't know what to do. Then Judas just leaves. Hashtag double awkward. Then, as the night goes on, Jesus spoke with some urgency in his voice. He never really spoke like that before. He spoke as if what he was about to say was actually happening. Like the future tense was upon us. We didn't get it. We didn't understand. Jesus said lots of stuff we didn't get. Then, as the supper was done, he asked us to come out and join him in prayer. But before he did that, he said that I was going to betray him 3 times. I'm like, no way, I'm Peter, man. I'll go to the grave with you. Never am I going to betray you. Never. He said, come on, let's go pray. So we went to the garden. Jesus told us to stay awake. But I mean, come on. After a Passover meal, we were gone. We were out. Jesus woke us up. Oh, sorry, yeah, we'll stay awake. We felt ashamed. Until we heard footsteps. That woke us up. We assumed we were the only ones in the garden that night. So to hear footsteps is a little creepy. And then out of the darkness, it was Judas. That stinking traitor. He's the one that's going to betray. A scary, more like scaredy cat. And then he came and he approaches Jesus with a kiss? What a punk! Are you kidding me? I'm like, no way. Those soldiers started to move in. No way am I going to let this happen. I draw my sword. I slice through that sucker's ear. I was aiming for his head, going in for the kill. It's kind of dark. So what? I hit his ear. I mean, I had a good edge on that thing too, cut it clean off. Oh, yeah, boy. And my adrenaline's pumping, I'm ready for this. We're going to do this, and Jesus says, no, stop. What? You're just going to let Judas come in here with these guys? I mean, so us good old boys, we can take these 5 soldiers in this garden, no one will even know, we can go hide and be good. Jesus said, no, stop. I'm just going to let him take him. What? So I followed him. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'd heard of these secret meetings that happened in the middle of the night before. And so that's where we were. This jury is happening, this meeting before my very eyes. I knew they were corrupt and clueless, but I didn't know how bad. Then they started to hit him. The council started to hit him. It became an angry mob. I felt like I was on the wrong side. I got nervous. I started to find my way out of there, and somebody said, hey, aren't you with Jesus? What? Oh. And somebody else said, surely you're a Galilean. You got to be with Jesus. No. I'm not. One young girl says to her mom, look at this guy. I saw him with Jesus. No, I don't know what you people are talking about. And a rooster crowed. It happened. Just as Jesus said it would. I denied him 3 times. My name is JaMarcus. I'm a Roman executioner. As an executioner, you might think I have an awful job, but it's not that bad. You see, with every execution, I feel like a little bit of justice is being delivered. I feel kind of good killing these criminals. Like the place is getting a little safer with each one we kill. As you can imagine, I've been called every name in the book. Some of them are even creative. I've been promised my wildest dreams of I'll just let people off that cross. People begin to bargain, we don't listen. We're not the ones who sentenced them, we're just doing our job. Getting that first nail in is quite the task sometimes. Some of these guys are really squirrely. Sometimes it takes several other fellows to jump on him and hold him down, but this Jesus was different. He came to us, he was already whooped. He didn't beat real bad. And well, to be honest, most of the time when they're beat this bad and they show up, we don't have to put them on the cross. They're already done. We still do it just to show off, just to say this is what happens if you commit crime. This time was a little different. Jesus had been beaten so badly, and he still came willingly. We told him where to lay, and he did it. We told him where to put his hand, and he did it. No criminals ever did that before. That was weird. I didn't understand. It was certainly memorable. It almost hurt me to drive that spikes in that guy's hand, but I'd done it so many times, I just went back to work. Then as we raised that cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Just pray for me? All the things you could have said, praise for me? That's unprecedented. With that man's last breaths, he prayed a prayer for me. As we stood there, the sky started to get dark. Night came, but it was still daytime. It came so fast, almost like a storm. And he died. That man still died. That man surely was the Christ. The last person you get to hear from about Good Friday is me, Isaac. I personally don't like Good Friday. I think Good Friday is a terrible Friday without Easter. It's a lot of darkness, and I like humor. There's not much humor in it. I don't like it because I am sinful. I'm very sinful. It was said to me in my youth that if I was the only person who walked this earth, that Jesus still would have came and died for me. I personalized it. I did things at college that probably would have gotten me kicked out of college if somebody would have known about it. I'm sure many of you can relate. I'm sure you're sitting there thinking possibly, he's a pastor, how sinful can he be? Well, I assure you that if Judas can live with Jesus and be one of his 12 disciples, then a pastor can have a load of sin. Sin hurts and God heals. It's a simple message, but it's a tough one to grasp. Sin happened and the penalty for that was death. Should have been my death. Should have been your death. He loved us so much to create me, but you find out what you're worth when somebody's willing to die for you. I can't wait for Easter. It's a good day. It's better than tomorrow. It's only then, when Easter comes, that it makes it a Good Friday. So the first thing I want to say to the students as you go home with today, or back to your units or apartments, is stop sinning. Just quit it. Get your drives and your desires under control. Submit your will to God. It's things you've heard before. Abide in His goodness and His mercy. Romans 12:21 says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. It's not enough to just stop sinning. You've got to do something else good instead. I know at a place like a Bible college, but also at Bible college, there's plenty of opportunities to do lots of good things. Lots of life-changing things for yourself and for others. Secondly, students, I want you to know that you're free. Yes, you live in America and you already know that. But you're free because Christ came and died for you. He came and died for your sin as a Christian, and you should live like you're free. If your life looks like everybody else's life in the world, then you are probably under somebody else's and something else's bondage. I don't say this to guilt you. I say it to myself as much as I say it to all of you. But get it together. The sooner you can do that, the easier and better you'll be at life. Stop floundering in your failures. Accept God's grace and do big things. Do them. For many of us, it's the little decisions we make. Something as simple as reading our Bible. I know that doesn't happen that much in those apartments. I've lived there. I mean, maybe something huge has changed since I've been there, but I don't think it's changed that much in 10 years. Read your Bibles for you, for your own personal gain. Do something untrendy, possibly in those apartments, and pray for one another. Will it be awkward at first? Yeah, it will be, because you're not practiced at it. But those things, do all those little things that you know you ought to be doing. Those things that nobody else is asking you to do, just those things that you know you ought to do. Those things that you need to do when nobody else is looking. Make Christ dying for you count for something. Be more than a gamer, more than a texter, more than a social media scroller. Christ didn't die for any of that. Be more than a mediocre student. Be more than a salty, sassy little student that sits there and picks on professors. It's fun to say. Live free and live bold, and remember that Christ died for you. Christ died for you. And if you feel out of place in this world, Jesus did too. They killed him. Feel like you don't belong here? Feel like you don't reside well in this earth? Good. You probably shouldn't be too comfortable here. It might mean you're living Christ-like.